I'm interviewing you today so you can talk about FIU.
Mm-hmm.
Can you tell me a little bit about yourself? What your major is? When did you graduate? Things like that.
Uh, I graduated from Mater, class of 2013. I'm currently at FIU, a junior, studying junior, chemistry major, doing a bachelor's in science.
Awesome. And let me ask you a question. When you were in Matter, did you graduate with your associate's
Yeah,
degree?
I did. I did. However, since I'm doing a BS, I'm a little bit behind on the science aspect, so I had to start from freshman year. However, I didn't have to take any GL, like general learning courses or English or any of that because I did that with my AA.
Yeah.
Oh,
Um, my purpose in this project is to tell students to go to like Florida schools and local schools and other schools that aren't exactly Ivy League, but they're still really
okay.
good schools.
Mm-hmm.
And
I see.
so I want you to tell me a little bit about FIU, something about unique about FIU since it's really close to Miami, where most of the students live.
I think that's the best part of it. That's why I stayed because I'm close to my family and I wanted to stay with them. It's also a lot cheaper when it comes to housing and stuff. I don't have to pay for housing. I live with my parents. I, I've enjoyed it, my 3 years that I've been there.
And talking about costs, since you said it was really cheap, you don't have to pay anything for housing or none of that because you stay here, so you live
Right.
here. You don't have to pay for the housing at all.
Tuition is normally, I mean, it's dependent on the amount of credits that you take, but it's normally, I mean, I take about 14 credits, 15 credits, and I pay around $3,000 per semester. And I mean, you get Florida-based features because you stay here in Florida. I also get, Pell Grant eligible, and the school gives you grants. So I get everything paid for,
So
and I
you,
get money back.
so you're paying now FIU. You don't have to pay anything basically because you have all the scholarships, all those grants, or very
Exactly.
little. You're left
Mm-hmm.
with very little to pay or nothing virtually.
Right.
And how would you say that's different than when you're applying to schools? How did that affect your decision on what school you wanted to apply to and what would you choose?
It came down to that actually. It came down to my financial situation, and also because I wanted to stay here with my family. But I mean, I was accepted to University of Florida, and that's not that far away from here. However, I would have had to pay for housing, and I did not want to do that.
Awesome. Um, all right, let's get away from the cost and all that stuff. Let's talk about how good the school is in your chemistry major path. Because I also, a lot of students are interested in studying science and they're thinking, oh, none of the schools in Florida are good enough for that. And I know that FIU is a really good up and coming engineering science program. Can you talk a little bit
Mm-hmm.
about that?
I mean, when I applied to FIU, I wanted to be a civil engineer. I started as that my first semester, and I personally did not like it. However, I fell in love with chemistry because I had my first chemistry course over there, and I loved it. So I don't know. Although the setting is it's a big, it's a lecture hall, so there's a lot of people. It felt very personal to me since I loved it. So I don't know. I've advanced a lot with chemistry. I'm right now doing research, so you have the opportunity to do that, and you have the opportunity to publish. And I mean, as long as you take the opportunity, then you can do many things wherever you are.
Yeah, I wanted to tell students that too because they think, oh, if I go to these schools, I'm not going to be able to be successful. And it's honestly, it doesn't matter what school you go to. It matters how hard you want to work on things.
Exactly. Yes,
How
I agree.
dedicated you are and things like that.
Mm-hmm. That and I believe in that honestly. Like after this, when I graduate, I want to apply to the top 60 school, and I would get my graduate school paid for too, just because you do great in as an undergrad, no matter where you are.
Awesome. Um, I wanted to ask you also. Let's see. You already told me that you had all the scholarships that you had, bright futures, everything. You had tuition paid for. the actual environment of FIU, you know, you had lecture. You said you had lecture halls
Mm-hmm.
in comparison to other schools where it's a smaller student to teacher ratio. How
I
would that
think
affect you?
it depends on the class. Like classes such as general chemistry, organic chemistry, biology, maybe physics one, you get like big lecture halls. However, once you go into math classes are really small. Um, Once you go into upper division courses, they're also really small. Like the student ratio continues like getting smaller as you continue working towards your major.
Awesome. And you said that you wanted to go to a different school for your graduates program. Do you recommend staying in Florida for undergraduate and then going abroad, not abroad, to another school for your graduates?
I mean, it depends on what you want to do. Honestly, I don't feel the need to, but I really want to because I want to get experience outside Florida since I'm going to be looking for jobs outside of Florida since there's not a lot of demand for chemistry
Yeah.
chemists over here in Florida. So I wanted to get the outside of state. However, I do believe that it's a good idea to stay here because you do receive more scholarships once you're in here in Florida.
I think it's pretty amazing how you were able to be how successful in this field that not a lot of people go into. Chemistry is a really complicated subject, and it's pretty amazing. Have you gotten any jobs or like internships
Um,
or
Not internships,
researching?
however, I am part of a research group since 3 months ago, and I get the opportunity to research, and if I go forward with that, I can publish even as an undergrad. So that's a great opportunity.
Awesome. And what would you say was the toughest part of your applications process? Did you think that like did you struggle with anything in particular?
To be honest, at the at that moment, I wasn't. Well, I'm not great when it comes to English and writing. So I struggled a lot doing my essays. However, I think it's the length of the actual applications that bothers me the most. They're really lengthy and tedious to do.
But you were able to get help and solve all those problems to deal with the
Oh
essay.
yeah, especially Miss Masters. She helped. She was a great help a lot.
If you had one word of advice to give to students now that since we're gonna be seniors, for the seniors that are applying now in the fall to the schools, what would you want to tell them for advice?
To start early, honestly, since it's so long, maybe you procrastinate and leave it to the end. Don't do that. It's not a good idea. Like it takes very long to complete them. So
Yeah, other
don't do
students have
that.
also told me that you have to be very careful with any errors that you make because if you make a mistake on the applications process, then they see that and they're like, oh, they fry you for that.
Yeah. Not only that, once you apply, and especially if you're getting your A, you need to send your credits from Miami-Dade, your credits from SNU, your credits from FIU, and it can get a little bit messy since some schools, like I have a middle name and they don't write my middle name, and then it won't coincide with my middle name in my actual application, so it can get a little bit messy. So you have to be careful about that and be on top of it.
All right. Overall, did you enjoy your experience in FIU? Like, have you enjoyed everything up to now since you haven't graduated yet?
I I I think so. I mean, I have my friends that I take for every single class. We're really close and we study together. We motivate each other, and I've liked it so far.
Awesome. Thank you for your time, Gabriela.
You're welcome.
Bye.
Bye.